Hey Michelle, this is Becky. You did a great job making over the Mecklenburg County population 2025 graph that you found in the CML library report. So well done with that. And it was really fun that you found something so close to home. And I agree that the way they put together the graph wasn't very attractive. Um, but you mentioned in your comments that you couldn't figure out how to get rid of the little boxes that were next to each of the uh, label markers. And I wanted to show you real quick how to do that. So these things here are actually, this is actually the legend. And rather than using the legend, you could in fact use the x-axis labels, and I will show you what I mean by that, and then you could remove the legend altogether. So I just took a crack at recreating the data set that you used. It took a little guesswork, and so my numbers are probably close to yours, but maybe not right on. So I'm just going to highlight the data set here. I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm just going to do a clustered column chart like you selected. So this looks pretty much like yours, except that right now I have these X, Y, or X-axis labels and you don't. And you may have inadvertently deleted these labels. It's hard for me to know exactly what you did, and that's okay. If I wanted to have a legend, I could just click on my activate my chart area and say plus and data labels, and maybe I want them to be on the bottom, so they're, oops, not data labels, legend, and put it on the bottom, kind of like you have. And right now, the legend just says population, which matches this word population up here. If I change the colors like you did in your graph, I'm just going to do a couple. I'm going to double click on that first bar, and oops, that's not what I want to do. I'm just double clicking, triple clicking, clicking on that paint can. I'm just going to change a few. I'm going to do red like you had. Let's change that to some kind of green, and maybe a darker green. I appreciate that you used the Charmex branded colors. That was awesome move. So now I've got these 3 colored labels, and once I started having individually colored labels, then it created this legend down here. But we don't actually need the legend. We're just going to delete that. So I'm highlighting over, I'm clicking, just clicked, did one little gentle click there and delete that. And then you may have inadvertently gotten rid of your horizontal axis categories. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It's hard to know. It's hard to retrace steps. But if you had inadvertently gotten rid of those and wanted to put them back, you just highlight, double click, or excuse me, click on your chart area to make it active. And you could go to Axes, Primary Horizontal, and click there. And then you could get rid of that. And maybe we don't want the primary vertical axes. You could click here to get rid of that, or you can click right in your chart area to get rid of that. And then let's just do a couple other little customizations. I want to close that gap, which means I want less white space, and I want my bars to be a little wider. You did a great job doing that. And then maybe it would be helpful to have some data labels, for each of the bars. So I'm just clicking, so now everything is active. And we're going to click on data labels. And that's okay. I'm going to deselect that. actually going to widen my graph. Just going to pull it out, and I'm going to make my my bars just a little wider by closing the gap a little more. I'm going to change it down to 20. I'm going to increase the font a little bit so it's easier to read. And I'm going to increase this font. And then I'm going to say by 2025, the greatest of the population, of the county's population, will be in the 35 to 44 age group, something like that. And then finally, I'm going to get rid of these horizontal lines just to clear up some of the clutter. And now I'm looking again, and there are 0 people in the 100+ category. And you know, there's probably not a lot of library activity in that age range anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my data set, and I'm just going to turn this 85 to 99 into 85+. I'm going to get rid of that bottom 100+ line. So now I've combined 2 categories, and that's something I do quite often in when I'm doing data visualizations to reduce the number of categories, especially if you've got a lot of small categories. Maybe I'll combine categories. You could actually consider combining the 75 and over age group if you wanted. Again, that's a judgment call. I'm just going to try it just for fun to show you how easy that is. So now it looks a little different, but the data is still there. You're still showing the same story you wanted to show. So hope that helps, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks. Bye.